So this morning, I flipped Apple on earnings. I bought it before earnings, I think last week, and I sold it today for $123. I made $750 because I bought it at $115.50. And the reason I did that was because I wanted a new iPhone and I didn't want to pay for it. I wanted a new iPhone because it's a really great tool for trading my stocks on the go. The reason I want to bring this up is when you see someone on the internet trading stocks, the question that I always had when I was younger was, okay, you make it look so easy trading the stock, but how the did you get the money in the first place? And that's what brings me to what I want to talk about today. Saving your first $100,000. I know a lot of books talk about becoming a millionaire and all these other excessive things. Let's start small. Let's start for the first $100,000 because that was the hardest thing that I have ever done. And that was harder than my engineering curriculum. That was harder than anything that I have done because it required so much self-control. After you make the first 100,000, the second 100,000 is much easier. I think you'll be able to figure out everything after that. So I want to talk about the problems that I encountered when I was making my first $100,000. This was all off of minimum wage jobs. So it was a very, very, very long climb to get there. The problems that I encountered: focusing too much on the money. I want to make this point first, and that is that there are a lot more important things in money, like my family, my girlfriend. Money is just not that important. And a lot of professionals get blinded by this. There's a lot of unhappy millionaires out there because they put money first. Money is not first, never. Money is never first. You will become a miserable person. Managing risk. When I first started trading stocks when I was 18 years old, it was in 2008, I lost a lot of money and I did not manage my risk properly. I went back and hit the books and I figured that out. I exposed myself to way too much risk and I lost a ton of money. That was a very important lesson. Trusting financial professionals. Another mistake I made was just because the guy has a designation at the end of his name doesn't mean he knows what he's talking about. I trusted everyone and that was a problem. I let some guy manage my money who was a professional that worked at a bank, a very well-known bank, and he did terrible. And he was just putting it in funds and I could have done much better on my own. Even though I filled out my IPS and I told him how I wanted the money invested, he did his own thing and he lost me money during one of the greatest economic recoveries ever, which was inexcusable. Just because you're talking to a guy who sounds confident, remember that you are your own best financial advisor. You are the one who knows yourself the best. And so I think that that's a very important point on saving your first $100,000. Emotional purchases. The Land Cruiser I just bought was emotional. I probably paid too much money for it. As someone pointed out, they do have transmission issues. That's something I had to account for. I bought that because I have extra money now. I would not buy that back then, and I didn't. That was a self-control thing before. Now I'm at a point where I can buy that thing and I can really enjoy it. Emotional purchases can damage your savings greatly. Rushing into business deals. What I learned when you're younger in college, a lot of people have great ideas, but they don't act on them. And so if you're the one with the money, people are always coming to you with great ideas, and then they want you to carry it all the way through and it falls on its face because you put up the money and then you do all the work and it's a total joke. And I've lost money doing that. It's important to realize that not many people are going to be as hardworking as you. They will give you an idea and they will want you to carry it all the way through and they will just want to ride the profit. And so I say, show me some revenue, show me what you got. If I'm going to put money on this, I want to see some numbers. And they never have it, and so they don't get my money. Buying into money guru systems. I have not done this because my dad lectured me excessively on this. He's told me so many stories of his friends that have bought into these, penny stocks and all this other stuff, and they have lost tons of money. And I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wow. Anyways, some really sad stories. One really big one comes to mind, and that is the Bernie Madoff scandal. People lost a ton of money in that. A lot of famous people lost a ton of money in that. Again, this comes back to being your own financial advisor. I want you guys to do your own homework and make your own investments, not thinking about future consequences. This is a big problem in America. A lot of people don't worry about retirement until it's too late. I started thinking about retirement when I was a kid because I really enjoy money management. I'm passionate about it. I'm not going to have a problem with it, but I know a lot of people will. Planning. Oh, that's a good one actually. When I bought the E90 M3, I didn't plan out all the expenses. So when I got really into that car, I loved the car, but I couldn't afford it. I went through all the costs. I realized, hey, if I have an engine failure at the track, I am done. I'm never gonna recover my money from this. And so that was another big deal. I said, hey, I gotta stop playing with these expensive cars. This is totally ridiculous. Credit and debt. Americans like to take on too much debt. We have ridiculous, 30-year home mortgages, and people justify it with the low interest rates, but then they're not thinking about the equity in their home. If you look at the historical prices with the interest rate, you will see some interesting information. and you may think twice about that type of investment. When I was a kid, my dad told me to be my own bank, and that was to lend my own money to myself. And I kind of listened to him. I borrowed money at 0% after the financial crisis because it was such a good deal, and I used it to grow my business. Borrowing money for a home or a car is generally not acceptable in my own financial methodology. You can decide on your own if it's acceptable for you, but I do not do it. Focusing on one asset class. On this YouTube channel, we're going to focus on all asset classes. I have been talking to guys who restore cars for a living. I've been talking to people who flip homes. So I'm going to be talking about all the strange asset classes that you can invest in. And I want you to understand that the stock market is not the only place to make money. That is just where I park the money that I don't know what to do with. It's much better to put it in the market than to have it in cash, because the government keeps printing out more and more cash and diluting the value of that paper that you're holding. That's very interesting. Anyways, my goal here with the YouTube videos, with this series, is to get you guys to your first 100,000, because that was the hardest thing I've ever done. It sounds ridiculous because I know a lot of people say, I want to be rich, I want to be a millionaire, all this stuff. But me, I just want to be financially independent. I don't want to have to go to work. Saving your first $100,000 is the first step, and that's what I want to start with. I know I talked about the stock market stuff, but we're going to go back to basics. I'm going to tell you all of the lectures that my dad gave me growing up, because my parents are probably the reason that I'm successful, because we don't get this type of education in our educational system. I'm going to share everything with you. Maybe it will help, maybe it won't, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching, and enjoy your car.